The money mistakes destroying men over 50. If you are over 50, I need you to hear this. Not as a warning, not as a lecture, as someone who has studied the financial patterns of men in this exact stage of life. And what I have found is uncomfortable, but more importantly, it is fixable. Most men over 50 have spent decades working hard, showing up, taking care of everyone around them, building careers, families, lives. And then one day, sometimes it is a conversation with a financial advisor, sometimes it is just a quiet Tuesday night doing the math. They realize that the financial picture they assumed was taking shape behind all that hard work is not what they thought it was. Not because they were reckless, not because they did not try, but because nobody ever taught them what the specific mistakes of this decade of life look like, and by the time those mistakes become visible, they have been compounding for years. That ends today, because I'm going to walk you through the most common, most costly, and most avoidable money mistakes that are quietly destroying the financial futures of men in their 50s. And for each one, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do instead. This is not about starting over. It is about course correcting. And there is still time, but the window is real and it is not unlimited. Let us get into it. Section 1, the retirement savings delusion. The first mistake is the one that nobody talks about because it feels like the opposite of a problem on the surface. It is the belief that you are on track when you are not. Here is what I mean. Most men in their 50s have some retirement savings, maybe a 401k from a job they've had for years, maybe a brokerage account they opened in their 30s and haven't really thought about since, maybe some savings sitting in a money market account. And when they look at those numbers, they feel okay. They feel like they are doing all right. But here is the math that changes everything. Financial planners widely recommend that by age 50, you should have approximately 6 times your annual salary saved for retirement. By 55, 7 times. By 60, 8 times. Sit with that for a second. If you earn $80,000 a year, you should have $480,000 saved by 50, $560,000 by 55, $640,000 by 60. The median retirement savings for Americans in their 50s is significantly below those benchmarks. The gap between where most men think they are and where they need to be is not small. It is often hundreds of thousands of dollars. And here's the most painful part. The years between 50 and 65 are the highest earning years for most men. They are also the years with the highest potential for catch-up contributions. The IRS allows people over 50 to contribute significantly more to their retirement accounts than younger workers. In 2024, if you are over 50, you can contribute up to $30,500 to your 401k annually. That's the standard limit plus a catch-up contribution of $7,500. For IRAs, you can contribute $8,000, $1,000 more dollars than the standard limit. Most men in their 50s do not know this. Most do not use it. The fix is not complicated. It is uncomfortable because it requires reducing current lifestyle spending to increase future security, but the math is not complex. Every dollar that goes into your retirement accounts in your 50s is still working for 10 to 15 years before traditional retirement age. That is not as long as starting at 25, but it is still compounding. It still matters enormously. If you take nothing else from this video, take this. Maximize your catch-up contributions right now, starting this month, not next year. Section 2, the debt trap of the 50s. Here is a debt pattern that is almost universal among men in their 50s who are struggling financially. They have debt that they believe is manageable, car payments, a second mortgage or home equity line, lingering credit card balances that never quite get paid off, maybe student loans, their own, or in some cases, loans they co-signed for their children. And they have been carrying this debt for so long that it feels normal. It feels like just part of life. It is not normal. It is a wealth destruction machine. Let me show you what I mean. A credit card balance of $15,000 at 22% interest costs over $3,300 in interest every single year. That is money that produces nothing. It does not compound. It does not grow. It is paid to a lender and it disappears. Over 10 years, that balance, if only minimums are paid, costs far more in interest than the original purchase was worth. And during those 10 years, the $3,300 per year in interest payments could have been invested in an index fund, compounding. The opportunity cost of consumer debt in your 50s is not just the interest you pay, it is the compounding returns you do not earn. Here is what the financially focused men in their 50s do differently.
They treat debt payoff as an investment with a guaranteed return equal to the interest rate. Paying off a 22% credit card is a guaranteed 22% return on that money. No stock market, no real estate deal, nothing gives you a guaranteed 22% return. The strategy: list every debt by interest rate. Attack the highest rate first, aggressively, while maintaining minimums on everything else. When that debt is gone, roll the payment into the next highest rate. This is called the avalanche method, and it is the mathematically optimal approach to debt elimination. Men in their 50s cannot afford to carry expensive debt. The compounding years are running out. Every dollar in interest is a dollar that will never work for you again. Section 3. The lifestyle inflation trap. This one is the hardest to talk about because it is the most emotionally loaded. Men in their 50s are often at or near their peak earning years. After decades of sacrifice and building, the income is finally at a level that allows for real comfort. The house gets upgraded, the cars get nicer, the vacations get more expensive. The dinners out are at restaurants that would have been special occasions 10 years ago and are now just Tuesday. And none of it feels irresponsible because they can't afford it. Every individual expense is within reach. The problem is not any single expense. The problem is that lifestyle has silently consumed the income that should be going into the wealth-building engine. There is a concept in personal finance called the savings rate. It is the percentage of your income that you save and invest rather than spend. Research consistently shows that your savings rate is a more accurate predictor of long-term wealth than your income level. A man earning $120,000 and saving 5% is in worse financial shape than a man earning $70,000 and saving 25%. Every time. Men in their 50s need to do an honest audit of where their money is actually going, not where they think it's going, but where it is actually going. Pull up the last 3 months of bank statements, every dollar, categorize it. Most men who do this exercise for the first time are genuinely shocked, not because they have obvious waste, but because the accumulation of comfortable, reasonable-seeming expenses adds up to a number that leaves almost nothing for the future. The question to ask for each expense is not, can I afford this? The question is this more valuable to future me than the compounded version of this money would be?
That reframe is uncomfortable, but it is the reframe that separates men who retire with dignity from men who retire into financial anxiety. Section 4. The investment mistakes of the 50s. Men in their 50s make investment mistakes that are specific to this stage of life, and most of them come from two opposite directions. Direction 1. Too conservative too early. There is a common belief that once you hit 50, your investments should shift heavily towards bonds and low-risk assets, that you should be protecting what you have, not growing it. This belief, taken too far, too early, is financially dangerous. If you retire at 65 and live to 85, you need your portfolio to last 20 years. That means part of your portfolio still needs to be growing at a real rate, above inflation, for 20 years. A portfolio that has shifted entirely to conservative low-yield investments at 52 may feel safe, but it is quietly being eroded by inflation over decades. The purchasing power of your savings decreases every year if your returns do not keep pace with inflation. The standard guidance for most financial planners for men in their 50s is not to eliminate growth assets. It is to gradually reduce them while keeping a meaningful allocation in broad market index funds throughout your working years and into early retirement. Direction 2. Chasing high returns to make up for lost time. The other common mistake is the opposite. Men who realize they are behind start taking on excessive risk. Individual stock picks, speculative investments, crypto, anything that promises to close the gap faster. This almost never works and frequently makes things worse. The data on this is consistent and brutal. Retail investors who attempt to outperform the market through active stock picking underperform passive index investing in the vast majority of cases. The urgency that makes a man in his 50s want to take more risk to catch up is the same urgency that drives poor decision-making. The solution is not more risk. The solution is more contribution, more consistency, and more time in low-cost index funds. If you are behind on retirement savings at 52, the answer is not to gamble on high-risk investments.
The answer is to increase contributions aggressively, eliminate unnecessary expenses, and let the market do its work over the next 10 to 15 years. Boring, consistent, disciplined. That is the strategy that works. Section 5. The Social Security Mistake. This one mistake alone costs men in their 50s hundreds of thousands of dollars, and almost nobody talks about it. Social Security benefits are not a fixed number. The age at which you claim them dramatically affects the monthly payment you receive for the rest of your life. If you claim Social Security at 62, the earliest possible age, your monthly benefit is permanently reduced by up to 30% compared to what it would be if you waited until your full retirement age. If you wait until 70, the maximum deferral age, your monthly benefit is increased by 8% for every year you delay past your full retirement age. Let me translate that into real numbers. A man whose full retirement age benefit is $2,000 per month receives only $1,400 per month if he claims at 62. If he waits until 70, he receives $2,640 per month. Over a 20-year retirement, the difference between claiming at 62 and claiming at 70 is over $295,000 in additional lifetime income. Most men claim Social Security as early as possible because they need the income, or because they assume they will not live long enough to benefit from waiting. Both of those reasons deserve scrutiny. If you can build your portfolio and other income streams to support yourself from retirement to age 70, the delayed Social Security benefit can be one of the most financially impactful decisions you ever make.
Talk to a Social Security specialist or a financial advisor who specifically understands claiming strategies. This one conversation is worth its weight in gold. I want to close with something that I think is important to say. Men in their 50s who are reading about these mistakes, who are willing to confront the uncomfortable math and make the necessary adjustments, are not behind. They are awake. And being financially awake in your 50s, with 15 or more earning years ahead of you, with catch-up contribution limits, with the ability to redirect lifestyle spending into wealth building, that is an enormously powerful position to be in. The mistake is not having made mistakes. Everyone has made mistakes. The mistake is not looking at them clearly and not changing course while there is still time. There is still time. But the window is not unlimited, and the decisions you make in the next 12 months matter more than almost any financial decisions you have made in the previous decade. So here's what I want you to do right now. 1. Check your retirement account balance today and compare it to the benchmark for your age. Just the number, no judgment. Just knowledge. 2. List every debt you carry and its interest rate, today. 3. Pull up 3 months of bank statements and find the number that is actually going to savings and investments versus the number that is going to lifestyle, today. These 3 things, done today, will give you more financial clarity than most men get in a decade of vague financial anxiety. Drop a comment below and tell me honestly, which one of these 5 mistakes hit the hardest? I want to know, because understanding where men in their 50s are actually struggling most is how this channel decides what to cover next. And if you know a man in his 50s who needs to hear this, a friend, a brother, a father, share this with them directly, not as a criticism, as a gift. Because the conversations we do not have about money are often the most expensive ones. See you next week.